I'm Francis. Back on TYT Sports with the white jeans.
Yeah, I was going to say, everybody talking about my tight white pants.
Very nice.
Tight white.
Dancing. We have a fun clip for you guys. One of these more debated, we did the football versus football clip, which people still comment on to this day, which we love, usually angrily, which we still also love you for. Regardless, another great debate we wanted to have is there's two big threes in recent history that kind of took over the sporting world. In world football, that would be Messi, Neymar, Suarez, and their domination of last season, winning the treble, Champions League, Copa del Rey, La Liga. This season, already knocked off the Copa del Rey?
No, still in it.
Still in it. Close to La Liga. They're starting to pull away. And Champions League
going on at this moment,
about to happen, which is great. And in basketball, the Miami Heat from 2010 to 2014, the decision, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh all team up, and then Ray Allen eventually joins, and you make it even a big four, and then Birdman, it's the big five. I don't know why Birdman had to be mentioned in that one.
You always have to mention Birdman.
So the debate is, what is the more, keyword here, dominant big three? Not who won more, because I think they played more NBA games in a 4-year period than you play world football games in a world football period. Maybe not. It's probably actually a lot closer than we think, but it's about 100 NBA games. If you win the title, it's probably about 70, 80. No, it might be more.
What are you talking about, Premier League?
No, I'm talking like La Liga, Copa del Rey, and Champions League.
It's a lot of games. It's trying to calculate. It's more.
It's more. Okay, that's awesome.
But
so
yeah, it's big.
The argument here is that what was the more dominant big three? So obviously arguing for the Miami Heat big three side, it wasn't the first big three. We started really coining that term with the Boston Celtics, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. But the Miami big three gets its own Wikipedia page, gets its own entire section of Basketball Reference, and all the stats. And my big argument, semi-joking, semi-seriously, is that Messi, Neymar, Suarez score a lot of goals, right? And in basketball, we have field goals, also a type of goal.
Yes.
And LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh scored a lot more goals than all of Messi, Neymar, Suarez combined. Just saying.
You've won. That's it. You won it.
I rest my case.
And there's some big games when you win 101 to 90 or whatever else.
But Francis, on a more serious note, Messi, Neymar, Suarez, why are they more dominant than the big three?
Well, I'm actually going to take the surprising route, right? So I'm going to compare the impact from when they came to now, of course, right? But then look at the sample size of Miami Heat in the first season, right? Because that's all I can really judge at the moment, right? So when LeBron James first came in and they went to the NBA Finals, plus, if you don't know much about the Miami Heat and the Big Three, I was a huge fan of them. They went to 4 consecutive finals. They won 2 of those. They repeated in the middle. They lost to Dallas at first, and then they lost, I believe, to the Spurs in the fourth.
They were sandwiched with 2 losses. Yeah. Dallas in 2011 NBA Finals, and the why am I blanking? San Antonio Spurs, which was very lopsided, and they beat the Thunder and then the Spurs.
Yeah. So, and they owed a lot to that to Ray Allen, by the way. That one that they beat the Spurs.
Right.
Phenomenal shot. But nonetheless, the one thing I wanted to state here, right? So, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, 3 strikers who all collectively are making each other better. So I believe, do we have some statistics?
We do have decent stats here.
If you throw up the statistics, you can see that gradually the goals increasing as they're starting to elaborate, they're starting to get better with each other as time goes on. And if you look at their career highs, they're each making each other better. That is what's so rare about this front three, because when you think about, when Messi was there by himself, you bring in players, and he technically should score less goals, because he's having to share the wealth. Messi, right? But the team as a whole are scoring more and more goals. Therefore, they're sharing more of the wealth, right? So in that comparison, they're very unique. They are able to all help each other. Messi's assists are still there, but Neymar and Suarez are scoring more goals than they've ever done. They're collectively getting better. The one thing the argument I do make with the Miami Heat is in the very first season that they came in, despite having a great season, going from what they were to NBA finalists, Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade's statistics went down. So basically, Dwayne Wade's career high points came in his 08-09 season, right? So he had 2388 points that season, 2,388. Unbelievable.
He averaged
30.2 points per game. He dropped to 26.6. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because when especially in the NBA, it's a smaller court. You have to share the shots with your most dominant player. LeBron James was a better player. You've got to share your shots with him. And as a team, they got gradually better. But that came at the cost of some of their individual stats going down. Same with Chris Bosh. In his previous season, he went from 24 points per game with the Raptors to 18.7 points per game. Now, again, it really depends on how you look at it. They went to the finals from going from not being a dominant team to one of the most dominant teams and then going on to winning. What we can see at the moment, because I must stress this, sample size for Barcelona is small at the moment. One season, won everything. So if there's a more immediate impact. The players are gradually getting better with each other. They're still pushing each other to beyond their own statistics. Messi's still breaking records.
Right.
Suarez is breaking his own personal records. Neymar as well. And if they go on and win this season, I'm not saying they have to go and win the treble again, but if they win the Champions League again, then they're the best, I would say, front three I've ever seen in any sport.
That's why I like the argument for Messi, Neymar, Suarez as they came together. It actually took still about half a season for them all
Suarez
to click.
was out, remember?
And then Suarez came back, and then, how's this going to work? That's a lot of, in the NBA we call it a lot of shooters, a lot of guys that are going to want to hold the ball and score. Well, that's the same technicality with Messi, Neymar, Suarez is how the hell are you going to get this much shot creation? And creation, yes, but selection and ability from a guy like Messi, Neymar, and Suarez to
You
finish.
can call them the same guy because that's what the
they really are. You look at the numbers; they're almost identical. Especially, I think most amazing is this calendar year is that Suarez leads the team in goals and assists.
Yeah, Suarez has been phenomenal.
They're just so unselfish.
Liga as well.
And it's to me the comparisons between James and Messi are actually I think very similar in the way that they're both very unselfish players. They look to create before they look to score for themselves. You would say they're also very unique finishers.
Yeah.
There's really nobody, I would say, that has a better finishing touch than Messi in his prime.
Yeah.
There's probably a few arguments, but overall, most people would agree that he is. Most people would also agree that LeBron James is one of the greatest drivers to the rim you've ever seen. Nobody can get to the rim stronger, faster, more effectively than LeBron James. Never really had a great jump shot. Hasn't really affected too much of his career. Again, a two-time NBA champion and likely to go to his 6th straight NBA Finals. So with Bosch, you make the good point because Bosch did see a statistical drop-off, but his stat drop-off also reflected the fact that he did not click with that team for about a year and a half. Can he be the third wheel on this team? It was a fear that I'm sure Messi, Neymar, Suarez, or Barcelona had when they came together. Could Neymar be a third wheel or Suarez be a third wheel to those other two great players? Bosch, people thought, well, I don't know, is this going to work out? And then all of a sudden, Bosch started developing an outside shot and playing a different game and playing a stretch 4-5 position. And LeBron started finding him more.
I was going to say.
In transition also, I wanted to mention that Dwayne Wade's stats did drop off. Dwayne Wade and LeBron James in transition, one of the most supreme, lightning-quick counterattacks, soccer and basketball words, I've ever seen. But their goal was to win titles. So to me, if all their stats dropped off,
and they won
if they all went to 10 points a game, but they won 4 of those titles, there'd probably be a better argument for the Miami Heat Big Three. But as of now, unless Arsenal is about to spank Barcelona,
I know we could be eating our word right now.
It looks like Messi, Neymar, Suarez will be the more dominant Big Three because they're going to win their league, I think, right? And they'll probably win Copa del Rey. A Champions League is just adding icing on top of the already iced cake.
Yeah. And at one point I wanted to mention there, because my knowledge for the Heat at this point probably surpasses what you think it might be because I was really focused. I love watching them. LeBron James, after his first season, was so disappointed in his post-game that he spent the full off-season adjusting it, right? And one of the main reasons he did that is so that he could free up more room for likes of Chris Bosh to be an outside shooter. And he could be more dominant in the post and in the paint, even though he was already dominant. So he understood a weakness and adjusted to it. That's what makes a great combination. That's what makes it work. But another argument for the Heat in favor of this is you look at the difference before and after. Barcelona, yes, they've got better, but they were always great. They won Champions Leagues with Messi before this. They won Champions Leagues.
The Heat did too. The Heat won with Wade and Shaq.
I believe, they won. But how many years ago was that before? That was in
3 or 4 years.
That was I agree. But even before that, Miami Heat were a good team, and when Shaq was there, as you mentioned there, that was when I first ever watched the Heat, by the way, when Shaq was there. They were great, but it's the transition from being good and competitive to being dominant and going to 4 consecutive finals. That Barcelona, in their history for 10, 15 years before Messi, Neymar, and Suarez, were always there or thereabouts. Even when Messi, Neymar, and Suarez weren't there, it was Eto'o, Henry, Ronaldinho. It was...
Hey, don't you dare leave out my boy Iniesta.
No, Iniesta's been there as well. Iniesta and Xavi. So you got to look at the outside influence. Same argument can be made for the Heat. We could go back and forth. Ray Allen was so good. Shane Battier came up unbelievably well.
The no-stat all-star.
Yeah,
my God, so good defensively.
So you gotta look at all these factors. But I think you're right, and I think most people will agree. If the sample size given if
Well,
Messi,
no,
Neymar, and Suarez repeat here,
that's
I
enough
think they're
sample size.
that's the most definite
Well, you can make
definite dominant front three we've
that's
ever seen.
another good argument that we can have or debate clip that we can do eventually is, and this is I don't even know how you would even put this together, but the greatest single season
That's a
in
good
the
one.
history of sports, because or greatest 3-year arc,
Yeah.
because if they repeat the treble, which has never been done, right?
Never, well, no
Well, no
one's
one's ever repeated the Champions
no
League.
one's never-
What
well,
was
no,
it called before
the
the Champions
European
League?
Cup.
And who did that?
and who won it first? The
Was it
British
Nottingham?
team. It was Real Madrid.
Not Real Madrid.
But
no.
who was the first ever team to win?
Blackburn
first ever
Rovers?
British team to
Probably
win it.
Celtic.
We'll bring it back to Celtic. No
Yeah.
matter what. Either way,
But the Blackburn Rovers were a good team. Don't you dare count out my
Nottingham
Blackburn
Forest, you
Rovers.
actually got it right nail on the head. Nottingham Forest had won the European Cup.
I
I thought
called
they were a
them
great team.
Yeah, but I called them Nottingham.
Nigel Clough, what a team. So we are the channel that brings your drunken conversations to life. You might not think it makes a lot of sense when you're at 12 a.m. at a bar somewhere like, LeBron's as good as Ronaldo, but it could be, and we'll bring it to life here. So make sure to come back, hit the subscribe button. What is your answer? Who was the more dominant big three, MSN or BWL? Come back and subscribe.